How's it going, guys? I apologize today for not being in class. I have an in-service at central office, but hopefully this will help you today. Make sure you open your notes from the previous day on Friday and look at the ones that are titled molar mass. Once you open those, we're going to finish them up wherever we left off. Just continue from that point on. Last Friday we talked about molar mass, and we talked about how much the conditions that were for molar mass, and also what we were going to use it and how to figure it out. So right now, what you're going to do is we're going to use the molar mass as a conversion factor to convert from grams to moles, and to go from moles to grams. Okay, the only difference is that you're going to use the conversion factor. You're either going to multiply by the molar mass or you're going to divide by the molar mass depending on the situation. So we're going to move on to the next slide. The first question here, it asks us that aluminum is often used for the structure of lightweight bicycle frames. And it says how many grams of aluminum are in 3 moles of aluminum. So what we want to do is we want to determine the given. The given is 3 moles of aluminum, and we want to convert to grams of aluminum. Well, the only way we can do that is by finding the molar mass of aluminum. Sorry about that. So how do we find the molar mass of aluminum? Well, you got to revert back to the periodic table. When you look at the periodic table, you have to find the element for aluminum, which is right here. And it has the atomic number for 13, the symbol is Al, and if you look at the mass, it says it's 26.982. What we're going to do is we're going to round to the 10th position, which is 0.9. From there, we have to decide whether we're going to round up or stay at 9. And so you look over to the next two values, and it says 82, which is greater than 5 or 50. So therefore, you're going to round up. So instead of being 9, we're going to round up to 10, but of course, we're going to have to promote that 1 onto that 6 in the ones position. So therefore, instead of being 26.9, we're going to round it up to 27. So let's go back. So here, the molar mass of aluminum, which we have just stated already, is 27.0 grams of aluminum for every mole of aluminum. So anytime you have a mole of aluminum, it has a molar mass of 27.0 grams. So the conversion factors turn out to be 27 grams of aluminum for every mole of aluminum, okay? Or 1 mole of aluminum over 27 grams of aluminum. Now you have to, depending on what the problem is, you'll be using one of these two conversion factors. In the case of this previous problem, we want to go from moles to grams. So therefore, we are going to use the first conversion factor, okay? Now remember dimensional analysis, okay? That means that we have to set up the problem first with our given, okay? And then we have to set up our t, which is not right here, but I'll do it in another example. And if you notice, we have 3 moles as a given, and we're going to use the first conversion factor, so technically we're going to multiply by the molar mass, okay? So if you're going from moles to grams, you're going to multiply by the molar mass, okay? So therefore, the moles of aluminum will cancel out the units, and you're going to end up with 3 times 27 grams of aluminum divided by 1, which turns out to be 81 grams of aluminum. Okay? Let's go on to the next one. So here for this one, I'm going to split the screen so that you can see what I'm doing as far as work is considered. Okay? So now, you see this, right? When we look at this, it's asking us that the artificial sweetener, aspartame or Nutraceut, which is an artificial sweetener used for people that are diabetic, not if you want to get on a diet. Essentially, if people that are diabetic and can no longer break down, they don't have the insulin to break down complex sugars into simple sugars, therefore, they have to consume, if they want to consume some sort of sweetener, it would have to be an artificial one that doesn't, one that is not detrimental to their state of being. So therefore, they're asking that if the formula for Nutraceut is C14, H18, N2O5, how many moles of aspartame are present in 225 grams of aspartame? So therefore, their R given is going to be 225 grams. Okay? And what we want is moles. Okay? So therefore, the first thing that we have to do is we have to find the molar mass of the aspartame, which is this. Okay, I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to bring it down over here. How do we find the molar mass? Well, you have to remember how I said we have to separate all your atoms. Okay. Okay. And when you separate, next you're going to put in parentheses. What are you going to put in parentheses? What you're going to put in parentheses is the number of atoms that each atom has. So, for instance, carbon will have 14. Okay. I'm going to close it. I'm going to go on to the next one. I'm sorry. And for this one, hydrogen has 18 atoms. And close them in parentheses. The nitrogen has only 2 atoms. And finally, the oxygen has 5 atoms. Now, the next thing is you have to refer back to the periodic table. Let's make it a half. Well, let's see how that works. Here in the periodic table, we got to look for carbon. We got to find the molar mass for carbon. When we look at the molar mass for carbon, it says here that it's 12.011. So if we're rounding to the 10th position, we don't round up, so we stay the same. So we're going to use 12. Okay, 12.0. For the hydrogen, if you look at the hydrogen, the molar mass of hydrogen is 1.008. So we're going to round off to 1. Oh, yeah. We're going to round up to 1. Okay, 1.0. For nitrogen, when we go back, we're going to see, and it's 14.007, so we're going to round off to 14. Okay. Very good. And now we go to oxygen. You look at oxygen, it's 15.999. So therefore, we're going to round to the 10th position, which is going to promote it to 16. So now it is no longer 15.99. We're just going to say it's 16.0. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to multiply across, and 14 times 12 on your calculator. Make sure you use your calculator if you want to, or if you want to go ahead and challenge yourself, by all means do it in your do it on an extra piece of paper. And the answer here is 168 for carbon. Okay. The next thing is 18 times 1. That's a difficult one, so it is 18. The next one is 14 times 2, which is 28. And the last one is 16 times 5, which is 80. And therefore, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to add all of these molar masses together. Let's see here. Once you add all of these together, whoops, we are going to get So it is going to be 168 plus 18 plus 28 plus 80. It will give us 294. Sorry, 294 grams per mole. Okay, of aspartame. Okay, we're going to say asp. So the next thing we have to do is we got to set up our math. Okay, so here let's put the PowerPoint over here up. So that's our molar mass. So that's the first thing you have to do. So then you're going to set up what your given is. Okay, our given in our situation is 225 grams. Okay, of aspartame. The next thing we got to do is here oops, sorry. Okay, so the next thing we have to do is we have to use a conversion factor. Now remember, in the conversion factor we have to decide which one we're going to use. Okay, we're going to either use the 27 grams of aluminum. In the case of this, is going to be 294 grams of aspartame, or over 1 mole, or 1 mole over 294 grams of aspartame. Okay, so our conversion factor in this case, the one that we're going to use is we want to cancel out grams, so that'll be our denominator. So here we're going to have on top 1 mole of aspartame, and then a little technical difficulty right now here. Okay, and then so at the bottom we're going to have 294 grams of aspartame. So then what ends up happening is that you're going to cancel out the grams of aspartame. Okay, so therefore our next step, okay, is that since you're going to cancel out the grams of aspartame, what you're going to end up with is pretty much 225 multiplied times 1 mole of aspartame divided by, okay, let's make it all underlined here, divided by 294. Okay, so what do we end up with? Equals 225 times 1 is 225 divided by 294 is equal to 0.765 moles of aspartame. Okay, and that is our answer, moles of aspartame. So now what you're going to do is you're going to look over, if you didn't understand, you can replay this video. If you're okay, well then move on to let's practice on some problems and look at the next video. Thank you.